Before we get started, if you wouldn't mind joining me in a Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of our Board of Directors, I'd like to welcome you to this ribbon cutting here for our new redevelopment of Lower Winter Street into 18 new studio apartments with case management offices. This has been 20 years coming, and I'm probably the happiest person in this tent this morning, so thank you all for coming. You know, at NHS, we're so proud to be a small part of a broad housing production vision in the city of Quincy to develop homes that are affordable to all households. And we've all witnessed over the last 15 years an incredible amount of development in this city, like the building across the street, the Watson that we developed to serve all incomes in our city, and these 18 new apartments that we are celebrating here today, developed to serve our most vulnerable, the chronically homeless. This is a place where residents can begin to rebuild their lives. But this type of a balanced housing vision for a city requires leadership and a look towards higher standards, quality, efficiency in all of the housing that we produce. That leadership and vision in a city starts with our mayor and his planning and development team. Please join me in welcoming the mayor of the City of Presidents, Mayor Tom Koch.
Morning, everybody. I just told the speaker this was my show. I would have used some ARPA money and had a heater for the speaker. Next time I need stairs, that's a little tall for me, Rob. It's good to be with you this morning. Certainly, Mr. Speaker, Senator, Councilor Devine, any other electeds with us? Nice to see you. State Representative from Hull, Joan, good to see you. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning. It's always a pleasure to be with NeighborWorks, the great work they do. And, you know, we're living in a difficult time economically. We're living in some real challenges. And one of the great challenges is housing. And I belong to the Metro Mayors Group. We're constantly talking about housing, transportation, how to work them in together. And we are tens of thousands of housing units short in the metropolitan Boston area. So we've got to continue to do that work. And a lot of times I get criticized from folks around the city when I'm out and about, you're building too much. I think some of them think that I somehow personally make money on the condominium projects that are going on. But I try to explain to people that it is a balance. We're trying to strike that balance. We've got some great neighborhoods in our city with single-family homes. We've got neighborhoods with multis, and of course we want the density in around the spine of the tracks, particularly around downtown. So we've had good success working with our state delegation, working with the city council, our planning department, our planning board, and I know we have a number of them here this morning, and I want to thank Rob and Joe and Sherry and the entire team for the good work they do. I see Reverend Bennett here. He's been part of the Affordable Housing Trust Committee for a long time, as is Margaret LaForest, and the great work they do. So it is coming together as a community to solve some of these challenges. And this is another great example of that. So as far as the city goes, we're in it for over $1 million city money and then directed some of our federal money. I think it's a little over $2 million that we're participating in this project, and we're glad to do it. This is not only providing a wonderful use, but also lifts the entire neighborhood. This was not a pretty spot here in Winter Street. So this is a great asset to our Quincy Point area. So with that, congratulations, Rob, Donnie, the entire team. I continue to look forward to work with you on other projects. Sean, I missed you. Sean Glennon as well. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. God bless.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a neighborhood rich in history, certainly, in industry and hard work, and a neighborhood that NHS has been part of redeveloping for over the last 25 years, really since the shipyard closed. Our next speaker certainly knows this neighborhood's history better than pretty much anyone, and has been a critical part of ensuring that we receive state funding needed for redevelopments just like this one. We're so grateful for his leadership on housing affordability and for proposing a historic $1 billion investment in housing and homeless prevention programs in next year's state budget. Please join me in welcoming our great partner and friend, Speaker of the House, Ron Mariano.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin. Welcome. I was here at the groundbreaking for this event, and I want to just thank Neighborhood Housing, because I've lived in this neighborhood for 70-something odd years, and I've never seen grass growing up here on Goat Hill. How you ever got that crop in here? I got to think it was shipped in.
It's global warming.
Okay. For those of you who don't know why I call it Goat Hill, there used to be goats that were kept up at the top of the hill. And I ate breakfast in this spot probably for about 5 years when I sold newspapers at the front gate of the shipyard. So this is a special meaning to me. This is a significant change in the neighborhood. It's a significant change in Quincy Point, an area that we've struggled to get meaningful development and meaningful housing. And Neighborhood Housing has done a great job. They referenced the apartment building, and just the general appearance of this place is 110% better than it was when the shipyard shut down. And it's been a long battle. And he said, Rob said 25 years. I might spot you 4 or 5 more, I think. Just struggling to find the right mix and the right types of development that would make this into a vibrant section of the city again. And we're getting there. We're getting there. It's been a struggle. We still have some major challenges, as you can see. The good thing is the pelletizing plant doesn't catch fire anymore, so we've made great strides. But I am happy to be here, and I want to just congratulate Neighborhood Housing on the great work that they're doing. And it is a significant improvement. Makes my life a lot easier. And as the mayor referenced, we're besieged on Beacon Hill, and we have 2 or 3 reps here that can attest to this, to do more housing, to find ways to make more affordable housing available. And just the fact that we have these studio units, they're the perfect fit for the need that we have in this city right now. So it works on a number of different fronts, and I'm very happy to be here. And I would like to congratulate everyone involved in this, because it is certainly beats Ma's lunch, I'll tell you that. I mean, you get sliding doors, you get a balcony, a patio. It's just significantly changes the neighborhood, and for that I am grateful. So thank you to everyone who was involved in this. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So few local politicians have been supporting our mission at NHS for as long as our next speaker, at one time even serving on our board of directors. He now serves as our local state senator, brilliant state senator, and is the vice chair in the Joint Committee on Housing. And John understands intimately how important affordable housing is to our cities and to our economy, and has also been a very strong supporter of our affordable home ownership programs. Please join me in welcoming our good friend, State Senator John Keenan.
Good morning, everybody. It's great to be here with my colleagues in government and with all of you. It's kind of a dreary, drab day out there, but I was thinking as I drove here that this morning I got to wake up in my own bed in a house that was warm. I got to go to work, and at the end of the long day, I'll put the key in the lock when I get home, and I'll open the door, and if I don't say it, I'll certainly feel it, that it's good to be home. And for too many people in our Commonwealth, they don't get to experience that. They don't have a place that they can call home. On a day like today, they may be sleeping in the woods, trying to get into a warm place to get a warm cup of coffee. They don't have a place that they can call home. For 18 people, they're going to be able to live here, open up their closet, and maybe have a couple pairs of pants and a couple shirts. They might have slippers next to their bed for the first time. They'll open up the refrigerator and maybe have some food in there for the first time. They'll be able to take a shower on a daily basis for the first time in a long time for so many of them. And when they go out and they come back, they'll be able to walk through the door, and my guess is that they'll say out loud, "It's good to be home," and if they don't say it, they're certainly going to feel it. So for all of you that have done the work on this project, you've changed lives, you've given people a place to call home. And it's not done just by one person, one group, it's so many working together. So congratulations to you all for changing the lives of so many and giving them a place to call home. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you very much. Our next speaker has been a critical part of nearly every special needs project that our agency has done over the last 20 years. Truly no one, and I mean this, no one in the Commonwealth has done more for creating homes for families and individuals with special needs than Emily. Please join me in welcoming our Director of Special Projects and a person who definitely knows how to make a project sing, Emily Rothschild.
Thank you, Rob. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you, Senator Keenan. That was amazing. So this site here was the site of the first project that I did with NeighborWorks 20 plus years ago. So it's exciting for me to see it repurposed as these brand new 18 units of housing for individuals who've experienced homelessness. Back when we first did the project, there were four wood frame buildings, one of which we tore down. And back in those days, the way we did housing was we had very little money coming in from the public resources, and we did it as cheaply as we could. And we tried to create as many units as we possibly could for homeless individuals with the resources that we did have. So these buildings had limited rehab. We got them back up and running, but they were still old wood frame buildings. And Rob had the vision a few years back that these really had reached their useful life, and no matter what we did to improve them, they really were not going to meet the standards that we now have. And we now have resources, fortunately, to be able to move up to these much better standards. So right before the pandemic, we took it on to develop this vision of a new project that's state-of-the-art, that is energy efficient, and that really is a fine quality home for people to live in. And we acquired one more building next door to really just top off and make enough space for this. We are very happy to be working with Father Bills to really change the lives of the people here with the services that are so critical, as well as just the housing facility. We have already selected tenants by lottery, and at least 11 of the 18 tenants that have been selected are coming from Father Bill's shelter and programs here in Quincy, so we're very excited about that. And I just want to thank our development team and our funders. We, of course, Father Bill's critical partner to this project and most of the special needs projects that NeighborWorks does, and we're excited to have them on board, providing case management services and helping us find and select the tenants. West Work, formerly Elton Hampton, came on first in the project. They have perfected this model of micro units, and I've worked with them in Brockton, Springfield, Randolph, and Marshfield to do these same kind of units. We're looking forward to doing more of them in Brockton with Father Bills, and in Attleboro we have another project planned with Westwork, and very excited to be able to provide this kind of housing. Curtis Construction, we really have an A-team here. Curtis Construction has also been on board on most of those projects, and we're very happy to have had them here. They've done a terrific job, not only doing fine quality construction, but also with a very, very strong track record of creating opportunities for minority businesses and for low-income subcontractors. So we appreciate that. Our funders, we could not do this without our funders. Sherry Zhu and Eastern Bank, Sherry Zhu in the city of Quincy, Young Mei Chen and Eastern Bank. I think they'll be thanked later on, but thank you so much for your help with this project. The Life Initiative came in early with a bridge loan to purchase that fourth building. And of course, the state, absolutely critical to this project and others that we do. The Department of Housing and Community Development provided funding from 3 development programs: the Housing Innovation Fund, Housing Stabilization Fund, and Neighborhood Housing Trust Fund, and they gave us rental subsidies for all 18 units, which is unusual to have subsidies for all units, so that all of the tenants will only be paying 30% of their individual incomes for rent, which is just critical for them to be able to afford the housing. Thank you so much to Camille Perry for all your hard work from DHCD to help us make this happen. Thank you, Bronya Clifton, and I don't think Dan Tobine is here, but he was a huge help with the Section 8s that came through DHCD. DHCD works closely with CDAC on the Housing Innovations Fund program. In particular, many thanks to Will Morgan, who I think may be here. I will. Thank you so much for all of your help to make this happen. I hope you all, if you haven't already toured the building, get a chance to see the fruits of your labor. And Mass Housing, a CCRI program, Nicole Mikshanas. Hi. All right. I hear this is your first project, seeing from beginning to end, so I'm so glad that you're here to see it completed, and many thanks to CCRI for being a critical early grant in the project. I think that's it. I just thank you all for being here, and thank you for your roles in the project.
Thank you, Emily. And believe me, it takes a lot to put these projects together. This is a very complicated redevelopment, and it takes all and more to make something like this happen. So thank you, Emily. She does such a great job in putting this all together. Our next speaker is the President and CEO of the United Way of Mass Bay and Merrimack Valley. This organization, the United Way, has been a huge supporter of NHS for decades. With the United Way's general and CITC support, which is a community investment tax credit, we've been able to expand our mission and services across the entire region. But they've also provided us with direct neighborhood level support upon request, like right here on Winter Street in Quincy Point. During the pandemic, the United Way provided us with tens of thousands of dollars in direct food support for hundreds of locked down, extremely low-income families and individuals right here on this street. In our time of need, the United Way was there. The United Way has also just launched a new strategic plan with bold new goals and a vision of strong partnership to address the housing needs in our region. Under Bob's leadership, I'm confident they will be achieved. and we look forward to continuing partnering with them in that success. Please join me in welcoming Bob Giannino.
Good morning. It's a chilly morning, but the warmth in this room for the work that NeighborWorks does and for the families that will benefit from this is great. And it's an honor and a pleasure to be a part of this today. Rob, congratulations to you and your entire team, and thank you for your commitment to ending homelessness and preventing folks from experiencing homelessness across this region. And to Mayor Koch, Speaker Mariano, Senator Keenan, Reps Mosquito and Hawkins, and other key leaders and community members, thank you for your partnership and for being a part of today. As Rob mentioned, United Way of Mass Bay is committed to advancing public policy solutions to end the housing crisis while connecting across coalitions, state agencies, businesses, and elected leaders to build a shared agenda that puts people first and organizes funding and programs in the ways that best drive housing stability. We've developed and launched a new strategic vision, as Rob mentioned, that allows us to strengthen our relationships with communities and agencies in new and exciting ways. Over a 7-year period of time, we'll be focusing on ensuring that we're able to bring more and more people opportunity and stability and prosperity, and moving them away from experiencing challenge and poverty. We're proud that Quincy will be one of those focus communities for us, and we're proud this is the first time we're in Quincy since announcing our plans. Quincy will be one of our 12 focus communities across our region for those next 7 years. And we look forward to working more closely with all of you on our journey to build equitable economic prosperity throughout Greater Boston. The increased need for affordable housing is critical in this region, and United Way is committed to supporting agencies like NeighborWorks Solutions that create safe and affordable housing for vulnerable populations. The Haley Driscoll administration is committed to creating 200,000 affordable housing units by 2030, and we're actively working with the Commonwealth to achieve that goal. We've partnered with CHAPA and the Mass Housing and Shelter Alliance to bring together a coalition of over 70 housing providers around an audacious goal to create supportive housing opportunities just like these for 4,000 households by the end of 2024. The United Way has invested millions of dollars in finding solutions that end homelessness. Developments such as this one is one that can take a leap forward in ending homelessness in our communities. We've also partnered with Representative Mosquito and Senator Creighton on a bill to fund housing and supportive services for high-need populations that are also high utilizers of our emergency rooms, shelters, hospitals, and other crisis services. This innovative approach will work for scaling developments just like this one. Partnerships are essential to building strong communities and neighborhoods, and the relationship between the nonprofit sector and broader community is essential. NeighborWorks and the United Way have enjoyed more than 20 years of working together, and we look forward to many, many more. Thank you for all the work that you're doing, and I look forward to being on this journey with you all.
Thank you so much, Bob, for your partnership. It's greatly appreciated. So our next speaker is certainly our most important partner in the funding of this development, this redevelopment, and really made this entire project possible. The City of Quincy has supported this development with funds from the South Shore Home Consortium, the Community Preservation Act, and the Affordable Housing Trust Fund. Her expertise in layering these subsidies and programs has been critical to ensuring this very complicated redevelopment was a success. She has helped transform the city's community development department into one of the best in the Commonwealth. Please join me in welcoming the Housing Programs Manager of the City of Quincy Department of Planning and Community Development and the lead of the South Shore Home Consortium, Sherry Zhu.
Thank you, Rob. It's a pleasure for me to be here today on behalf of the South Shore Consortium and also City of Quincy. I have to say, this is the worst time for me to be outdoors because of my allergy. And I told my husband and my kids and my dog that I will not be outside for more than a minute. No, honey, I'm not taking out the garbage. And no, kids, we're not going to the Spring Festival that they love, that Quincy just had. And, you know, anybody can take my dog for a walk. So, but there's only one exception. That's for me to be here for NeighborWorks ribbon cutting. And they always put out a beautiful tent, by the way. So the South Shore Home Consortium was formed 15 years ago. We're comprised of 5 communities, including Quincy, Braintree, Holbrook, Weymouth, and Milton. The main purpose was for local governments to come together and to collectively participate for the federal home investment partnerships program. We often refer to it as HOME, and the HOME funds can fund a range of eligible activities, including first-time homebuyer programs. We help build and buying, rehabilitating housing for rent or home ownership. So Quincy is the lead community for the South Shore Home Consortium, and we help administer all the various programs. We help administer Braintree's tenant-based rental program. We provide fundings directly to help create affordable housing like this Lower Winter Street project. I promised Rob to keep this very short, so I just wanted to share one thing about this project. Typically, we would get an application and have an open meeting, review the projects, and either we approve or reject the proposal. And if it's approved, we would issue a conditional funding reservation commitment letter. This first letter for this project was issued back in January of 2020, almost 3.5 years ago, with a commitment of $500,000. And then COVID came along, we all know, and you probably see where I'm going with this. NeighborWorks came back and said they actually needed $750,000. And the consortium reviewed the numbers, and Emily's very good at giving us everything we asked for. And then, of course, we approved the $750,000. And then, you know, 1 year later, COVID is still around, right? And so is NeighborWorks. So they came back and asked for more, and eventually the total that the consortium committed was 1.125, in addition to the Quincy Affordable Housing Trust original 500,000, and also the CPC 500,000. So I wanted to point this out for several reasons. Not to say that we have unlimited funding and resources. I do want to make that clear for any developers out there. Don't call us after this. Collectively, you know, as partners, as consortium, and on behalf of City of Quincy, the consortium only gets an annual entitlement for around $800,000 on average. So we actually have to pull multiple year funding source to make this happen. And what I wanted to say is, from day one, all the consortium members of the trust, members from CPC and our mayor, we've been, you know, supportive from day one. And you know, NeighborWorks weren't afraid to ask for more when they need it, but not just because they can. And they made it happen. And was able to deliver this project in front of us today that we're really proud of. So on behalf of everybody, City of Quincy, Home Consortium, the Trust and all, I want to say congratulations, NeighborWorks, and all the partners. And I think we've got a great deal. Thank you, everybody.
You can see why she's the most important, right? No, also I want to just a shout out, a special thanks to Sean Glennon and Rob Stevens from the city's planning and community development departments. Your expertise and your support of NeighborWorks and this work and our mission for a very long time, including at this site, and the time that we've had to come back and come back for more has just been tremendous. So please, a round of applause for those two in particular. I really appreciate your support. So our last speaker was ironically one of the first we contacted when looking for financing when we were planning this redevelopment. and they committed over $2 million in funds. Eastern Bank has been such a strong supporter of our agency and our work for years, and we've certainly joined them for good. And this is a very, very unstable time in the banking community, and it's so important to have a reliable and strong regional bank as your partner. So please join me in welcoming the Senior Vice President and Team Leader of Community Development Lending at Eastern Bank, our friend, Young Mei Chin.
Thanks, Rob, and good morning, everyone. And first of all, on behalf of my 2,000 colleagues at Eastern Bank, we congratulate the project team, Emily and everyone here. And we're so proud to be part of this team by providing the construction and also the permanent financing for this beautiful project. So at Eastern Bank, we believe affordable and secure spaces to live are one of the most effective means to help build strong and equitable communities. So this project is a perfect example that will provide 18 individuals that will have permanent supportive home in this beautiful city of Quincy. So with this belief, the bank created the Community Development Lending Group, and with a focus in providing financing to preserve and also develop affordable housing, and also to support those in our communities so that they have an opportunity to prosper and thrive. So with this mission, our lending group have provided over $2 billion in socially responsible loans to area nonprofits during the past 20 years. So in addition to our lending commitment, safe and affordable housing is also an area of focus for our Eastern Bank Foundation. During the past 5 years, our foundation has provided over $1 million in CITC grants to community development corporations that are focused in affordable housing. And this year, our foundation actually has designated affordable housing as one of its high priority giving areas. The foundation has provided special grants to nonprofits such as NeighborWorks, and in our annual social justice event this year, we'll be honoring a selected group of individuals that are for their leadership and contribution to affordable housing. So I'll be happy to invite everyone here to join us in November to celebrate these honorees. So thank you again for having me, and congratulations to NeighborWorks and the team.
Okay, that's going to conclude our program, our very cold morning program here, but there is warm coffee and drinks and pastries inside. The property is open, so you can go inside and go up and down. Although if someone can get National Grid here to turn the power on, that would be great. We've been waiting, I don't know, Speaker, if you have any pull there, or Mayor, we're waiting for about 6 weeks for them to come and turn the power on. But the property is open, and again, big thanks to Curtis Construction for getting this project done over a very challenging, difficult couple of years. So thank you all so much for coming. Great to see you. Thank you for your support.